Please hold whilst we connect you. We connect you. We connect you. We connect you. We connect you.
You're listening to a Redacted special episode. As part of Melbourne Design Week in May 2025, in collaboration with RMIT and sponsored by Better Future and X-Frame, we hosted Futureproof, a 3-day event showcasing amazing local designs and nightly talks from leading industry experts. The talk you're listening to now is by René Walk, industrial designer at July.
I'm René Walk. I'm the industrial designer at July. I think most of you probably know our brand. We make a lot of bags, soft bags, accessories, but at the core of that is definitely luggage. That's what's built the business. We're definitely trying to expand with the small goods, small bags. We're from Melbourne. HQ is in Collingwood. We sell around the world. So we've done a lot of different collaborations over the years. A lot of these I wasn't involved in. I've been with July for about 2 years. But in that time, we've done basically the cases for the Australian Olympic team in Paris. So all of the athletes got one of these cases. And I'm pretty proud to also say that Ray Gun has got one of them. For the AO, we did this recently. I think this is maybe not the most commercial product. It's got this cool innovation. It's like a racket cover attached to your suitcase. But it's got this innovation where you can snap on the racket cover and remove it. So you can take it in your carry-on, for example. And it's a great promotional marketing thing. But this concept we're probably going to use in the future to expand into a sports range where you can attach different types of bags to your suitcase or even to your soft bags. Another one that we did recently was, this is actually an unbranded product. We sometimes do these, basically a new brand, and it's for Kevin Parker from Tame Impala, and it's this musical instrument. We've designed this simple case for it. It's fun that we get to do these products with all these different people and all these different companies. Apart from the core that we do, this is the fun stuff. Sometimes they're short projects. You just get to do something quick. And at the moment, we're also working on a project that's going to be launched with Qantas, the national carrier. So we're pretty excited about this. And I'm going to share later on in the end of the presentation an innovation that we've come up with that has made them excited to work with us. Another thing is some products we're working on with Apple, which are also going to be probably in the Apple stores within the next 9 months. I'm mainly responsible for the hard goods, suitcases, etc. And I'd like to show you some of the new stuff we're working on. The topic of the presentation is future-proof, right? So I want to just talk to you about our idea behind how we make our products future-proof, our philosophy behind it, what we think about when we're designing these things. For me, I think it comes down to 3 things. The main one is desire and love. The second one is the build quality. And the third is selecting the right materials. Desire and love, we're creating commercial products here. So the first thing is we need to attract people to actually want to buy these things. And if the product is desirable enough, I really believe that if somebody falls in love with that, they really love the product, they'll also take care of it. The second one is build quality. It comes down to a lot of detail, a lot of work figuring out just what kind of screw to use or how you fit a certain component together in a good way that's efficient, that's durable. And the third one is about material selection. The way we look at it is more about longevity over material bias. And many consumers, they associate sustainability with natural or recycled materials only. And the view often leads to the belief that plastic is always bad. Sustainability is not just necessarily about what something is made of. It's also just about how long it lasts, how well it functions, and how much it reduces the need for replacements. So it's very important to consider the entire life cycle of the product. For example, it's not always more sustainable to make a chair out of wood. For example, you buy an IKEA chair, it lasts 2 years, and then the screws just start to fall out, and you have to buy another one. Whereas if you buy a plastic chair, I'm not saying that it's always better, but if it's built well and the person loves the actual product and they keep it for 50 years, then it's arguably more sustainable than making the chair that lasts for 2 years out of wood, and somebody has to buy 20 of them in their lifetime. And the other thing is desirability. Is it always better to make something out of a compostable product, wood chips and some kind of biodegradable polymer? Or is it better to choose a material like glass fiber and make a really beautiful, desirable design that somebody loves and keeps for a long time? I'm not advocating for the fact that plastic is always better, but I'm just saying that it's deeper than just saying that plastic is bad. This is also an interesting one. I think a lot of consumers think that the Louis Vuitton bags are actually leather, but a lot of them are coated canvas, which is basically just cotton with PVC coating. So it's like vinyl. Somebody that buys that bag is probably going to keep it for their entire lifetime. They'll probably even give it to their kids or to somebody. They'll pass it down or whatever. And is that necessarily more sustainable than a leather bag built poorly or breaks, or like it's just not very aesthetically desirable? So this is something we think about at July. We want to make good, long-lasting products that are available to many people. So like a democratic view of it. Philip Stark is one of the most influential industrial designers. And he's got this quote: when he designs a plastic chair, people say it's not ecological, but if the chair is used for 200 years, then it's more ecological than the wooden one that's thrown away. Exactly like what we're talking about here. And so that's really what we strive to do at July. We choose polycarbonate because it can be ran over by a Jeep and then you can still pop out the creases. You can still use the case. People would argue that aluminium is a better choice for this. It's recyclable, more so than plastic. It's quite strong, quite rigid. If you look at it deeper, it gets heavier. So obviously you can take less or you're paying for extra luggage. But just in general, you're taking more weight onto an airplane, which also has CO2 emissions, etc. And aluminium, if it gets dented too far, it doesn't bounce back like a polycarbonate does. It seems like it's the more sustainable product, but is it necessarily? I'm just trying to give a bit of food for thought here to think deeper on that and really consider all elements of it. But a lot of people ask us, why aren't our cases made of recycled plastic? Recycled plastic can be used really effectively in many applications, but there are some disadvantages to it. It's fine when you don't need aesthetic perfection, like you don't need perfect surfaces, perfect monochrome colors, for example. And also when it's okay if there's slight variation in the material properties. The main point for our application is the fact that when you use a recycled polycarbonate, for example, the mechanical strength of it is lower. It can be used great for products like this, outdoor furniture, kids' furniture, as long as it's taken from good sources. There's nothing in there that can contaminate or injure the child, but things like this, where it's big, bulky things, you can make really beautiful products out of this. If you go into injection molding, then you have a bit more control over how you can form the thing. But with vacuum forming, one of the problems is with recycled plastic, it's made of lots of different plastics from different sources. And if it's not controlled very tightly, you get a lot of variation throughout the sheet of plastic. This is an image of a vacuum form machine, but then you might get different densities at different points. And so then you can't really form the suitcase quite cleanly. And it also can create weaknesses in certain points of the case. So that's the main reason why we don't make our cases out of recycled plastic yet. But of course, this is a material innovation thing. It's about controlling where the plastic comes from. So it's definitely something we want to do in the future. But right now, it doesn't really make sense for us because luggage is treated really poorly, gets thrown around really bad. It can break quite a lot. We can repair the wheels, the handles, the locks, the zips, but we can't repair a broken shell. Once the shell is broken, then we can't really do much with the case. The best we can do is we take all the parts off and then we use them in another repair, but which customer actually wants to use parts? There's not really much we can do with that. So that's why we don't really use recycled plastic yet. And here's a very conservative estimate of the difference in the likelihood that a case would break. Very conservative, I would say 10 to 20%. So for us per year, that could be in the thousands. It'd be bad for our brand if we have more cases that break. So what are we doing about this? What are we trying to do to be sustainable? Right now, we're working on some small bags. And the idea is that we're going to use all the offcuts from those bags to make things like luggage tags, maximize the use of the material. This is a vacuum form shell, basically cut off the extra material. And with that, we're going to shred it, make it into pellets, and then we're going to use it to make products which don't necessarily need strong mechanical properties. So it's like they're not abused as much. So it's fine to make something like this out of recycled plastic, or this is something new we're working on, like little travel wallets or things like that. So that's really what we want to do, because here there's no real compromise in terms of quality. It's very unlikely for this to be abused in the same way that a suitcase would. Apart from that, the last thing I want to talk about is the innovation that we do. And this is a new product. It's basically a tracking device for the suitcase. It happens quite often that baggage will get lost in the baggage handling, and then you arrive at the destination and then you're like, oh, where's my luggage? And nobody knows where it is. And you've got to wait there for hours or days in the worst case. So it's an inbuilt device, an integrated tracker for our suitcases, and it's going to be Android and Apple compatible. So it's a bit different to an AirTag. It also deters theft because it's visible. If you were to put an AirTag on the outside of a case, somebody could either remove it. And if you put it on the inside, nobody knows that it's actually being tracked. And this we've also designed in a way that it's really repairable, replaceable. All of the components are individually replaceable. Even so it's integrated into the lock, it's actually a separate component that can be removed. So if either the lock breaks or the unit breaks, you don't have to replace both. So this is how we make our products future-proof. And it's also good for the business when we don't have to replace the whole thing. It's way more versatile. So there's a lot of work around the details of this product. We've also made it in a way that we can in the future integrate that individually into products that don't have single lock. They have two locks, so we can use the same design and build it into this. So that's how we make things future-proof at July. I encourage you, all the young designers here, especially next time you're designing something, just think about the full life cycle, the end to end, and just question whether recycled material is always the better choice. More often than not, it probably is, but not always. There are cases like ours where it isn't necessarily the best. And then just try to make something that is loved, because I think that is the way to make something really sustainable. If you can make a chair or any kind of product that somebody really loves, they're going to take care of it, they're going to keep it, they're going to give it to somebody else when they don't no longer want it. They're not going to just throw it away.
Thanks for listening to this redacted special episode. We hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to check the show notes for links to learn more about René Walk and July, where to follow Redacted, plus listen to more of our episodes. Thanks for listening, and until next time, this has been a redacted special episode.